Now we are going to sew up the donut. Flip the fabric over and then pull the yarn tail out from the inner ring. Take out the apricot one and align two fabrics with the front side facing outwards. Then we'll start to sew up at a 45-degree angle. Sew up the whole round like this, one stitch corresponding to one stitch. This is what the back side looks like after sewn up. Then tie knots with the yarn tail like this. Cut off excess tail. The inner ring is sewn up. Then take a section of color yarn to thread a needle and tie knots at its bottom. Insert the needle into a random stitch between the two fabrics. Now we are going to embroider sugar grains with colored yarn on the surface of the donut like this. Next, use the purple yarn to sew up the outer ring. We start from a random stitch on the edge of the purple fabric. Press the yarn tail under the fabric. Align two pieces and start sewing at a 45-degree angle, one stitch corresponding to one stitch. Leave a small opening for stuffing the fabric with fiber fill. Then continue sewing. pull out from a random stitch and then tie knots with the yarn tail. Then conceal the yarn tail inside the fabric. Finally, cut off excess end. The donut is completed. Next, we make the mouth. Thread the yarn needle with a strand of black yarn, and then tie knots at its bottom. Embroider a V-shaped mouth between the eyes on round 9. The mouth is completed. Tie knots and finally cut off excess end. Next, sew up the tentacles. Counting from the top of the main body, sew the tentacles on round 4 bilateral symmetry. Tie knots with the yarn tail, and then conceal the yarn tail inside the fabric. Finally, cut off excess ends. Sew up the other tentacle in the same way. Finally, we are going to sew the donut on the back of the snail. First, we check the height and position. Then we start sewing like this. Tie knots with the yarn tail. Then conceal the yarn tail inside the fabric. And finally, cut off excess end. The snail donut is now completed. Make another snail in the same way.